Once upon a time, I had a car that cost me $700 a month. Now, this was no problem when I had two incomes. Now, you see, me and my wife decided to split up. And in doing so, I kept all the major financial liabilities, including the rent and not just the car, the insurance as well. So at that time, I was working at a grocery store and I had an income of $10 an hour, which worked out to be roughly $1,400 a month. Now, with this car being right around the ballpark of $700 a month to keep, it took approximately 50% of my income to keep this car. And I kept this damn car for months. I stubbornly trudged along trying to find ways to make more money so I could keep this car. Now, the car was fairly new. It was new to me, although it was used, but it didn't have very many miles on it at all. And it was kind of the car like that I always wanted. And I didn't want to lose it. I didn't want to lose the status of feeling like I had a nice vehicle. I didn't want to lose all of the time and money I had invested in the vehicle at that point. And so I trudged along, and in doing so, I probably ruined my ability to make more income in the long term by months. I stunted my growth by keeping this car. So why did I keep this car for so long? And why do people stay in situations that are terrible for them, especially on paper, absolutely terrible for them for long periods of time? This problem that we're referring to is actually called stuck at local maxima. Now, within mathematics, there is a problem called stuck at local maxima, stuck at local minima. This problem means that on any given scale of a graph or a chart, there are peaks and there are valleys within this graph or chart. Now, imagine you are a creature traveling along any graph, maybe even a stock market line. You're a creature that can only see so many digits ahead of you and so many digits behind you. You can't see the future. And this is what we're doing when we're playing stocks anyway, is we land on a local maxima and then pray that we reach the new local maxima. But between the local maxima that we're already on and the new one, there just so happens to be lots of dips. It's a jagged line. It's not a smooth course ever. And this is the problem, is that sometimes we find ourselves in situations where in order to move forward, we have to take dramatic steps backwards. And those dramatic steps backwards are stressful, they're painful, they make you feel like you're low in status, or they make you feel like you're losing altogether because technically you're going downhill, right? The new position that you're trying to get to is higher, but perhaps you can't see it. You don't know whether that new position is better or not. But you trudge on anyway, hoping to hit the new local maxima, never really knowing the peak of where you could be. If you'd like to see a simulation of this, there's a YouTuber named Brainxyz, and I will link him in the description to the video I'm speaking of, where he takes creatures in a simulation and has these creatures search for the local maxima, which means the highest point in the valleys. So within the simulation, these creatures climb these hills trying to get to the highest points, and then they end up remaining at these highest points because every other move forward is a move downhill. I strongly encourage you all to check that video out. This is a common problem in science. In order to make new ideas, to revolutionize things, sometimes it takes steps back or steps in an entire new domain in order to move forward. If we're talking about rocket science, for example, we already know that rocket fuel is not enough to keep us at or to even approach light speed levels of travel. So this means that in order to change, in order to reach technology that can reach light speed, we would have to abandon rocket fuel altogether. And to abandon rocket fuel altogether is to take steps back and to recede from local maxima, which creates cognitive dissonance in people who have learned all about rockets, knowing that there are things you can do, sacrifices you can make that will inevitably cause you short-term pain and suffering and may make you feel lower. But if you proceed forward, you will find a new maxima, a new peak, a new height. So these are actionable items you can use in order to change your local maxima. And the first thing to do is to write out your problem. You actually write down your problems because it increases your memory. A creature is running through a simulation, trying to find new peaks, new resources, new points of energy and prosperity. The creature needs memory so it knows where it has been and it can make calculated decisions forward in the best direction that would hold a new maxima. So in our cases, we want to write out our problems because we think we can hold all of these things within our head all the time. But when you write down and actually check and see how much money you have, where your money is going, how many calories you take in, where the calories are going. When you see these things, you can change them. It increases your memory and your ability to perceive what's going on with you. The second thing you want to do is actually imagine a goal, because there's no point in going anywhere unless you can imagine that there's a better place, right? I mean, that's very simple. So you want to imagine a reality that's better than the reality that you're in, and that gives you a North Star, a direction to go in general. And the last thing you want to do is actually cut out obstacles that are in your way, things that are keeping you stuck in a comfortable position. And this comfort that you are stuck in is the same reason you can't change. It's the same reason you can't take steps forward towards new maxima. So long story short, I sold the car, got all the debt relieved from the car, took money that I had received that was remainder money, invested it in a used vehicle, and this vehicle was pretty rough. We called it the couch, in fact. The $1,000 car, and it did everything that the original car I had did, except it stopped on occasion, which is why we had to upgrade another time. But by buying a car outright for $1,000, I increased my income by 50%, and that was a painful process. It was scary driving in this vehicle. It was uncomfortable. There was no air conditioning in this vehicle. I had to get out of it and unplug the battery and plug it back in every time I ran it. However, I had significantly more money. So this is Nick Newman with the Conscienticon. I want to stop and thank the patrons for supporting the Conscienticon. I thank you guys so very dearly. And if you'd like to become a patron, the first 100 $3 tier patrons will get a video made by me on any topic that they wish for me to discuss, and it will be posted on the Conscienticon permanently, forever. And if you'd like to support the channel without giving any money, that's totally fine. Just hit the like button and throw a comment down there and tell me a story about how you've changed your local maxima points. We would like to hear it. Thank you all very much.